Okay.
Name a price. So do I name a price? $5.
Okay. Okay. You pick a subject too.
Oh, I do. I have to. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh. Jeez. Christmas. Oh no. I want to say. Travel. Let's go for love.
Love?
Yeah.
Okay.
How hard can that be to write it for?
Love. Okay. I'm gonna have to smoke on that one. Yeah, I mean, some people walk up to me and they're like, wait, so how does this work? And I'm like, well, you decide what you're going to pay me, and I will write you something based off of whatever it is you want me to write about. Whether it be a word or an idea or just anything. A lot of the time people, when asked what they want, they have to think about it for sometimes several minutes. It's like, so it's almost like I'm on the spot, but they're also on the spot too.
Max, you write your poem. So much. You're not gonna sign it?
I could if you wanted to.
Please. I think that brings luck.
Yeah, go.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I try to listen to people and like try to sometimes go underneath maybe what they're telling me. Like no matter what the subject is, I'll take a few moments to think about maybe what the first line will be, and then I just go. When somebody gives me a subject that I find really interesting, I have the best time in the world. I feel like my typing takes on a certain rhythm, and in a way it's like I'm performing as well as writing.
Thanks. My name is Alia Madden. I live here in Brooklyn for the time being, but I will be going down to a island in Honduras in a little less than a month and stay down there for a few months. And so I asked Abigail over there to write me a poem about moving to a tropical island. And this is what she wrote me. Under the light of the mango tree, its branches heavy with fruit, I take my time in walking reflection, a place where no familiar faces merge with mine. Sand underfoot, the ocean grumbling in its hungry chaos of creatures, dodging human flesh, gone deep under where it's hard to see the reflections of sun, matter, inconsequential time, left behind.
I've written, articles for magazines or whatever, and you have to negotiate with editors and, send a draft if they even want your story. And it takes weeks. It takes like days to weeks of coordinating all that. But being on the street is just immediate. It's an immediate exchange. Somebody asks you for something, you write it up, and it's done. It's very satisfying that way.
It's something between like the tarot reading and like therapy. Somebody comes up and they want a poem, and then I'll talk to them for a while, and there's a feeling like I reached some crux of like the poetry interview.
It's offering love through truth, which sometimes, in a sense, truth can hurt, but the lying would hurt more in the end.
You can't teach anybody to have the intestinal fortitude to go out and just be out on the street.
Yeah, have a good day.
You know, she strikes me as someone who's pretty mature for her age. She's 21. I was kind of shocked to find out she's 21.
Name a prize, pick a subject, get a poem.
When I got back to Lancaster, she was involved with this guy, Oleg. He kind of simmered her down and she brought him up, and, you know, it could have been the perfect thing.
He was like sipping a Corona with like lemon at the top of it. And I was like, I recognize this person. So I went up to him and was like, hey, my name's Abby Mott, we've met. And he was like, yeah, we did meet. It was like the first month or so, I was totally out of my mind, like absolutely happy and just like really excited to be connecting with somebody.
He was on his way to Peru, you know, in less than a month, and she was kind of self-assured that everything would work out.
He broke up with me. I freaked out, was drinking more than ever, and tried doing various things to get him back. All completely, nothing worked.
Abby was 18 when she started taking Kundalini yoga classes with me. As she grew in her Kundalini practice, she decided to take the Kundalini yoga teacher training. I was at teacher training one day and I asked everyone, I said, I'm going to New Mexico for the solstice celebration. Who wants to come along? And Abby volunteered.
It was called Summer Solstice on top of this mountain in Espanola.
She mentioned to me that there was a party she needed to attend because her boyfriend Oleg was going to be there.
And I was like, hey, can you get into this car with my friend and see me off to New Mexico? Like, just because. And he said no, and then we started yelling at each other.
She was about an hour late to my house, and she showed up totally distraught. We climb in the car, she sits in the back seat, and we make our journey.
Got into this car, drove away, had the worst 3 days of my life.
We arrived in New Mexico for the Kundalini Yoga Summer Solstice celebration. So it was the perfect place for her to be, the perfect place for her to get the nurturing that she needed through all this Kundalini Yoga work. All of the themes that summer solstice were all about: love and the heart and the, your relationships and all of these things.
I probably could have taken a lot more out of that experience had I not been in this very dark place of like wanting something I couldn't have.
She spent a lot of time in her tent, just writing and crying and writing and crying.
Was there for 3 weeks and thought I would be going back home to Lancaster after that.
She has an option to stay with my teacher or to find a ride to Lancaster or to find a ride somewhere else.
I think I had like $60 or something. I saw there was like this ride share board and there were people going to San Francisco, so I decided to just go.
I don't think that people go to San Francisco necessarily because they know that they want something exactly. I think San Francisco is a place that you go to because you don't know what you want yet. It's a blank canvas, It's a place to try and see if something works or if something doesn't work.
I was wandering around going, what am I gonna do? What am I have no idea, but I'm gonna have to figure something out rather soon.
So I got a call from my cousin David. I hadn't heard from him since we were in our 20s, 30 or more years ago. And he asked me if I would go and rescue his daughter, Abby. Immediately after she got to my place, we had a meal, and then she started talking about Oleg.
She wasn't the same, she was hurt and vulnerable and damaged.
She wanted to earn enough money to be able to follow him to Peru. I thought a bit back about my first love. I suggested to her that maybe she would not find it quite the experience that she had hoped.
At the end of the day, she cared more, and for a while she was in denial about how things would work.
I really wasn't feeling the desire to work in a coffee shop again. I had done that for 2 years and was over it, but decided maybe I would do it anyway.
Abby was definitely trying to change her life. She had grown up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I think that, like most small towns, it probably was kind of stifling, especially if you're imaginative and free-spirited and really want to have a broader experience of life.
I had like my pile of resumes thinking I would put resumes in. I'd gotten callbacks, but I hadn't gotten a job yet. I was walking down Haight Street in San Francisco, and I saw a guy sitting there with a sign right under Haight-Ashbury that said, name a price, pick a subject, get a poem.
I remember the day that Abby came to the corner at Haight-Ashbury. There was about 3 people that was sitting on the corner that day for just a couple of hours. Abby was the last one to stay there. And that's kind of what stuck out in my mind.
At one point he said, hey, I have an extra typewriter. You could borrow it if you wanted to, if you want to do this too. And I was totally taken aback and was like, oh, okay. Why not? Why not?
The first test is kind of finding the place where you're comfortable. She went and she first found Valencia Street.
The first few people that came up to me, I was terrified. Like, I was there like, okay, what do I write? And my mind would blank. But then I would just start writing something and completely zone in on what I'm trying to say.
When Abby first couch surfed here, she was just kind of getting started. She had this sort of mentor gentleman who had kind of given her the idea, the ropes of how to do this. But what I saw in Abby is this really impressive artistic command of the English language. When you see someone who is sitting there and creating out of thin air, kind of an improv situation, these exquisite poems, and it just flows, or sometimes it doesn't flow, but it is meant not to flow. And it's like a masterpiece being made in front of you. As a thank you for letting her stay here, she, among other things, made me this poem. The topic that I had given her was relationships lost. And so she wrote this and gave it to me the day she left. Tears have been my bedfellows since I saw her face as she walked gracefully, climbing into the car back to miserable home, sad to see it happen like so many before, and I learning to believe the day will come when she and I can make a home. I still sigh when I see eyelashes flash the child's face. May time send me to the right place.
Whenever I get to a new city, it takes me at least a day to get comfortable. And I'm usually scared about the reaction people are going to have to me. When I scope a place out, I look to see if there are a lot of people around. I look to see what people are wearing. I try to pick somewhere fairly visible, and I just kind of sit down from there and see if it works out. I'm usually vaguely thinking about love while I'm waiting for somebody to walk by. I don't know, I just kind of watch people and chuckle to myself, and I like hearing snatches of conversations. I feel like I just observe, and maybe that'll go into something I'm writing.
Hello.
Hi.
I require a poem today.
Okay. I get a lot of inspiration from the things people tell me and the ideas other people have, and I try to listen closely to what someone is saying and write in my own words my idea of what they're saying, or try to get at a feeling that they have about something.
He's like on the other side of the Dominican Republic at this point.
Right.
I'm like, stay where you are. Tell me where you are. That's great. Very nice. This is pretty perfect for her. Wonderful. Thank you.
I hate being outside when it's cold. If it's freezing and I'm outside, it's because I'm broke. It can be very disheartening because less people stop when it's cold outside. Yeah, I don't like the cold. Just another time in the day.
Borrow that lighter. Thank you.
What are you smoking?
I don't know. I was looking for fine cut Dunhills, but they don't have any, so they're not great.
I'll trade you one.
All right.
Okay.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
In the eye, the belly rocks. Makeshift pigeons out of paper tear, and a voice, bellowing, from a loudspeaker declares, "This is it." I shudder, collapsed, without embrace, to the last rain.
Yeah, so weird. It's funny. Oleg and I were out one night and we went to Dipco and he was there,
No
just
way.
kind of sitting at the bar drinking by himself.
I thought he was in Chicago.
Exactly.
How old was that guy?
That guy was maybe 25 or 26.
Remember when that was old for us?
Yeah. Yeah. The tarot card reading you got. Have you noticed anything? Like, has anything?
Well, I was waiting for it. I was kind of like nurturing the reading. You know, I was like, but I couldn't tell because sometimes those readings, they look at you and they watch you and they see like, what is this person nervous about? And what are they wearing? And how are they
Right.
talking? And what are they looking at? And I'm just going to feed on it, you know, and just really kind of use it to drive this reading.
Right.
And so I was looking at it, you know, and I was just saying like, okay, you know, like I'm kind of dressed New York, but you know, when you're in Lancaster, it's like a bigger thing.
My friend Tito's, she did a reading for me the other night. She has told me that sometimes it takes a month for something for it to manifest. Mine was all about, I'm not being emotionally fed and I'm on the right path, but it's the lonely path.
I think she wants the connection with people. You know, it's the excitement of being somewhere new and who you're gonna meet and who you're gonna fall in love with. It's the essence and the basis of her poetry. Who is gonna change her life and who's gonna change her writing? I think that's what she's searching for as she travels.
My name is Andre Mercer. I'm from Queens, New York, born and raised. A thunderclap and a heart attack, but the daily feeding at the task inspires itself. A brother's dream, a human hug, can redeem the flow, the love. They get better every time I read them. I like it, you know? Definitely, definitely.
We used to call her Gabigail because she was an endless talker. As soon as she could walk and talk, she was running up to people, introducing herself, and we had to just kind of keep an eye on her and make sure she didn't run up to the wrong people because she was just open and happy and cheerful.
I remember being a very angry child, and I had my two older brothers, Jonathan and Daniel, who would play a lot of video games, and I just remember always being surrounded by boys and ordering them around, and they wouldn't listen to me, so I would fly into rages and, I don't know, cry a lot. And then eventually at one point I just started reading books and ignored them.
There was this phase where she went through the whole Star Wars thing. She read everything she could get her hands on with that. And she was homeschooled up to the 6th grade, and she didn't do much with math, but she read everything under the sun.
I mean, I turned into a goth child when I was 12 or 13, and I had a lot of parent drama then, because I was trying to express myself, and my dad thought I was like turning into this secular person or something. My parents, my family in general is pretty conservative Christian, and up until that point, I had been pretty quiet about what I thought or believed. So when I started to dress differently, all sorts of questions came up, and I would have long arguments with my dad.
I made a conscious effort to stop fighting with her over issues of morality and religion and stuff like that. And I just kind of sat back and said, Abigail, do what you want to do. I don't have to be in charge of this. God can watch over you, and I'll just pray for you and just see what God does with it.
Abigail is my wild child. She is a free spirit. She is wanting to do whatever comes her way that interests her.
I started writing poetry around 17 years old. I was at Borders browsing the poetry section. I saw Sylvia Plath's The Colossus, picked it up, read one poem, bought the book, and devoured it for the next week, and then just started writing.
When you talk to Abigail, what do you talk about?
What do we talk about? Just, how are you doing? What are you doing? Are you being safe? Are you being smart about it? It's probably sad, but we don't talk a whole lot about what she's doing. I'm just always more concerned about where she is and if she's okay.
So there's this book by Jack Kerouac. It's called Good Blonde and Others, and inside of this book, there's a list of rules for spontaneous prose writing. In a more general sense, rules for being a writer. One of the first rules is be dignified in your experience. Just go with what you're doing. I internalized that rule, and everywhere I've gone, if I'm nervous or whatnot, I try to be very calm and collected about it, and I just wait to see what happens, and generally people are receptive.
Hello.
Okay, so how does this work?
You pick a price and a subject, and I'll write.
What's a ticket price?
It's completely up to you.
Okay, $5?
Sure.
What's a topic that you can write well about?
I can write well on a variety of topics. I really leave it up to the person.
How about pursual of love?
Pursual of love. Are you pursuing someone right now?
No, I have a boyfriend,
Okay.
so I think so. But I like
He's
I
the
like
one.
the topic on pursual.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you go to school for this, or just a hobby?
It's more or less my life right now. But no, I didn't go to school
Can I
for
take a
it.
picture with my phone camera?
Of course.
I like people that pursue their dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. You're welcome. Pursual. The diamond glitters, stars in the object eyes. She sways as she sighs, a glass to her lips imprinted with lipstick. You see her across the room as a savior in a dream. She walks on water when you sleep, a bounty of roses, yours to keep. If only the correct words like jazz tunes might sharpen your tongue, cool waters to quench the burn and the yearning.
I'll read you one more of mine. I drink it up. A tossed butt could light a fire in this tumbleweed desert, like the tortures of feeling your skin, paper coarse, sanding mine in the winter. I dreamt I lay in a field of sunflowers. No roads, the bees sucking pollen for dinner, and in the morning, the yellow sea cascading in me.
Boy, that sounds like a bleak time for you, huh?
Yeah, it was pretty bleak.
But it still has that hopefulness. Well, fight the good fight.
Thank you. Well, it's a pleasure meeting you. See you tomorrow. Okay. I'm gonna go find a place to drink absinthe.
Well, I think one of the things about New Orleans is that it's kind of the Bangkok of the South, right? People have been coming here to have a good time and go on R&R for like 400 or 500 years. So, you know, like all the silver would come up from Potosi and like all that gold would come up from South America. It'd go to Havana, ships would go off to Spain, and then people on those boats would come here and like fly those wages. So, like I said, people party in New Orleans like nowhere else.
I came to New Orleans on Frenchman.
Well, I'm definitely gonna get a poem from you.
Poetry Corner is like a place of truth, right? Nobody's coming from their job in like Houston or Dallas or whatever, and they're gonna come and you're gonna ask them a question. They're not, you know, there's no point in like not telling you the truth. It's a poem about them, right? So the same for the writer, like it's really a place where you can be genuine. So you're looking for like well-heeled kind of out-of-town tourists, you know, couples, people who are maybe here for some conference. So what kind of places are they going? You're looking for a lot of foot traffic, you need good lighting.
How did you get into this?
Poetry thing? Well, you know, it was funny. I'd moved to New Orleans, I guess it was like 2 years ago. And kind of my traditional mode of work back in California was like teaching yoga and Tai Chi. So I was teaching a Tai Chi class, and one of my students was doing this. And I'd seen somebody in San Francisco and like...
Was he a black dude with a fro?
No, he wasn't. He was some white dude on a bicycle. Sweet. Well, we will see if there's any business tonight, but
yeah, we'll see what happens.
I'll write you a poem if you want. She definitely kind of falls into the category of like, you know, like the young artistic girl. You know, what category, you know, is she like upper class enough to have like gone to Oberlin or something, or she like skipped that? And so I got the sense she'd skip that step, which makes, I don't know how to put it, a little bit more random energy maybe.
If I was going to move to any city, it would be New York.
What?
I don't know. It's like the energy. I love the energy there. It's in both ways like very clean and very edgy at the same time. And I don't like being hassled. It's like I'm out here doing my thing.
His brother Matt.
Yeah. Hey. My name's Abby.
Abby?
Matt. It's a pleasure.
I used to have a typewriter just like that, made
Oh,
in
really?
Spain. And then I loaned it to somebody. Don't ever loan your typewriter out.
Right, yeah.
I saw friends doing it and started hanging out with them while they were doing it. And then one of them went to the bathroom one night and I sat behind his typewriter and someone came up and said, "Hey, can you write me something?" I said, "Yeah, of course." And she gave me $10, so I started doing that. After he left town, I was like, all right, that's my gig now. What do people ask you for?
A lot of love poems, a lot of, hey, can you write about my girlfriend? Or can you write about my boyfriend? Oh, my husband's so great. Or it's my anniversary, or it's my friend's birthday.
Pets.
What?
Pets.
Yes, yes. Oh, my dog is so
God.
cute. I know, yeah.
Oh my God.
Of course I did. I get a crush on, he's a poet. He's, you know, jazzy looking and smart and writes really well. What's not to, he's cute.
You know, people are like totally floored because you happen to get some turn of phrase.
So yeah, a little bit of a crush on him.
I had this one time, I think it might have been the same night or within like 2 nights of each other. This couple comes up to me, like, you know, reasonably well dressed, like sort of on the upscale side of well dressed, but like, you know, toned it down for the night, out and about, kind of drunk. So, well, we're both from Atlanta, we're both in town on business, and they're like, we're both sleeping with each other behind each other's, you know, spouse's back. Like, we're both cheating on our spouses here.
Right.
Like, okay, where are you? And I kicked him in the teeth with it.
Nice.
Like, I'd like, you know, whatever. I made it all like whatever it was. I wish I had a copy. I'd show it to you.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, it was just like a couple of little turns of phrases were just like, and you're cheating on your spouse, motherfucker, you know? Like,
What do you think's compelling about her? I mean, is it her presence, her style?
She's female and she's super cute. And that does a lot. Like, there's other women who have come out and it's kind of like, wow, okay, there goes business because everybody wants to talk to this cute girl over here. And that's fine, you know? Because then she gets busy and then everybody starts coming to me.
People. I've written poems for people that I thought were totally disgusting.
Yeah.
Before, there was this one guy, it was at Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco. It was like the one poem I got all day. He was the only dude and he was a street performer as well. He played some really cheesy keyboard music. And he like gave me $9 for a poem about this girl. She was 40, she was 16, living in like a tropical country, and he was gonna go there to marry her. And he had like sent her this Valentine's Day box of like candy hearts. And he's like, yeah, just write me a poem about how much I love her. I mean, she's like really bright, really cute. And he showed me pictures and she looked way younger than 16. And I was just like, okay. And I wrote a poem, and after I gave it to him, I was like, I shouldn't have written a poem for this guy. I feel.
The poem is a chorus about love. Something neat about an old typewriter. Yeah, it's neat because it's neat. It's like an organ, actually. It's kind of awesome.
Here,
All
you
right.
should read it.
What's your name?
Abby.
Abby. David.
Nice to meet you.
Tristan, you know, it was that aggressive New York air of his. He was always having problems with folks, yeah?
Well, I wouldn't think so. He has such an innocent face.
I know, he does. He's sweet and cherubic, yeah. But wingnuts would always be drawn to him. He was kind of a wingnut magnet a little bit. Yeah?
I get that too. You see the guys that come up to me sometimes, they're just like, "Why don't I talk to you for a second?" And I'm like, okay, all right, go ahead and talk. You're impervious to that somehow. Like, you've got this kind of like IQ to like, we'll come to you and you'll be kind of like, I see you, and you move past me. Go talk with him.
You just got to not engage with people like that, because you just keep them going. You know, they get all
I
riled
know,
up. They go on
anything
for
you
like
say.
20 minutes, anything.
The one exception is Jimmy.
What, Jimmy Longdick?
Yeah.
You love Jimmy Longdick.
I don't mind Jimmy. He's a good guy. What's happening, Trey? How are you tonight?
Really well so far. How are you?
Thank you.
Congratulations. Welcome to town.
Yeah, what's your name?
I'm Trey.
Trey?
I don't patronize often, but I come by and buy drinks, so it's even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, too. How you doing? Not bad. No? It's not exactly like poetry o'clock. 1 o'clock, I believe, is what you told me.
Well, there's always a chance.
No.
But I think tonight might not be that chance.
Pretty quiet, Al. Fucking crackers. Not paying for fucking words. What the fuck is wrong with people?
It's a new age, man. You can get words online.
One drink?
Sure, man.
What are you about? James?
Yeah.
Rocks?
Yeah.
Okay, what about you?
Same.
You.
August a year ago, I came out and one night. It was so slow. These like crusty kids. Yeah, it was bad.
How hot you think it was, brother?
Oh no. It was fine. It was just terrible. It was just slow. Like 5 people wandering around, the same 5 people all night. They were all like looking for money from me.
With their dog.
And
Yeah?
And these kids came up and they're like, "Hey, we don't have any money, but can you write us something?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, fine. That's whatever. I'm like here to write and have a good time, and I'm having a good time anyways, even though I'm like just kind of staying here collecting dust." He gave me a cigarette for a poem, and just rode around with it in my head for like 3 months. Finally, someone came up to me. I was driving through my neighborhood, and this girl was waiting on the corner, like talking to her. She's like, "Hey, man, do you have a cigarette?" And I'm like, "As a matter of fact, I do." And what you hear is, well, we just, say like a $10 thing.
Very, very well.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah.
Welcome to the city. Have fun.
Oh, thank you.
I'm gonna go get a burrito. It'll be fun. Thank you, Trey.
Yeah, cheers. Cheers.
Oh, that's a sweet picture.
Yeah, kind of right in the moment.
Yeah, that's a perfect picture, actually. Which poet guys? I wonder if I know them. Like, are they local? They're here a lot?
Yeah, one's Matt. Yeah.
So is that where you ended up staying last night? Or?
Yeah, I ended up staying with him at his house.
So nothing went on with you and Tim last night? That's went through my mind that might have happened.
No, we just hung out. I mean, you know how sometimes you could tell something could happen, but you're definitely not going to let it happen? Yeah. So, yeah.
Bottle cap with the fleur-de-lis.
Nice.
Here, I'll put it on you.
Thanks.
This is a poem that Abby wrote for me on patience. Rising beneath the frame, a calm motion swept up, Like so many cobwebs, their threads shine clear, the notes eyes carry when horror films roll there. Cotton screams, rotating dreams give way to a fabulous display of coats, hung dry on racks. A memory bleeds the colors collected in a pool. Scried swim there, the water caresses, rest, be cleansed in the pools of reverence. Abigail Mott, December 15th, 2011, French Quarter, NOLA. Love your little boots, they're so cute. Yeah. We'll take one in the mirror. Oh, it didn't come out. That's okay. Come here.
Okay.
Perfect. That way we
so
don't mess up your typewriter.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. You got all your bags?
Yep.
The first time that my teacher and I saw her sit and actually become the teacher was amazing. And the confidence that she had as she sat and she spoke was clear, and her words were clear. And to see that clarity being taken to another level with her poetry is fantastic.
The more I stay self-employed and the more I do stuff, the more I realize that I can make a living and I can make my own way in the world. And I think that she's seen that by example. She's seen some of the struggles that are involved with that. She's seen some of the success. And now I think she's seeing her own success in that. And that is the bottom line for anybody, taking care of yourself before you can take care of anybody else.
Love can be the saddest feeling you will ever have. And it's like the one feeling you will like never like give up, because it's like so, yeah. It's like love is like a terminal illness in a way. It's probably the most beautiful emotion feeling that you could ever like even dream existed. And it does, like it's everywhere. How do I see the world?
Is it half full, half empty?
It's right in the middle.
In the middle?
Yeah, can tilt either way.
And he thinks it's full. Okay, so we got full, middle. Is that right? Let's go one more. Okay. I'm trying to save our marriage. We've been married 40 years. 40 years. If I don't find something important tonight to say to her, so.
About women? Sure, I love women. They're one of my favorite topics.
In a different way, because I have 4 daughters.
Oh, okay.
And I miss them dearly. And they're little kids.
Mm.
And I want them well. I want them happy. And I want them to be spirited.
I'm not sure what to say. She's my daughter. I love her. You know, she does things that bother me, but I can't spend my whole life obsessing about it. You know, criminy, there's enough stuff that I do that's wrong. I ain't got time worrying about the stuff she does wrong. You know.
I really want him to know how much I do love him. I mean, I think he is incredibly sensitive and a good person, and sometimes I think not everybody sees that. And I just want to, like I do, I love him, like, very much. Yeah.
So brilliant. It's so much better than a caricature in Wildwood, New Jersey.
Yeah.
So I'm Paul Speaker from Malibu, California. And Abigail wrote this poem about my daughters, of which I have 4. My girls, 4 little ones on the peak of the world, their smiles untold, unfolding, notes caressing their life, in the dreamy hold of mine, caretaken, waiting for the end of mold. They wake, explore information, carried fast in all creation. That's from Abigail. About my daughters.
People were breaking my heart like left and right. Just noticing like how much love so many people had to give and how little of it so many people were receiving. And how in some ways a lot of people were very eager to be truthful or say something honest, but not really having like the words for it.
This is the one that you want.
Okay.
Should I read it to you?
Yes, read it to me.
My, said the psychic as he shuffled his cards. That's a mighty big bowling pin flying through the air. And a tattooed man in a leopard skin leotard kept on juggling, allowing no tarot telepathy to ruffle his concentrational flair. But the psychic did not abandon his task to find out when dexterous attention was lax. And when he succeeded, he smiled behind a mask of solemnity, fearing to laugh lest the juggler attack.
I love it.
I'm glad you like that.
That's great.
With caricatures like this. Yeah.
Cool. Can I
Look what
take
3
this?
words can do, yes.
Okay. Yes, that's amazing. That is amazing.
My mom, she worries about me all the time, and I think it's because she notices how like crazy I can get sometimes. And I think she notices like the whole like the doom and gloom thing that like comes up in me a lot. And I mean, I want her to know how much I appreciate her.
So how do you balance your fears about her being on the road with just her?
I don't think about it. I don't think about what she's doing too much or it makes me too fearful. So my solution is not to think about it. And I pray. And I cry.
Are you proud of her?
I am proud of her. She's done something I could never do, and I hope she does well at it. I'm happy that people are generous to her and help her so that she can do this. Yeah, it's a good thing. She can make her choices now.
Oh, there's the spot cat, man. That place is cool. Yeah, I said that, yeah. We're gonna try to go there, but man, I fucking lost my pass. I'll try to remind you today.
Never meeting. I lay on the shore as storm clouds gripped my head with all the words I never said to someone I never met. His lover sigh, an imagined dream, his fingers cobwebs. Silver echoes projected just so, increasing gently as the tides incoming flow that swept the feelings dealt in beds of other gents who came and went.
You know, whenever you're living someplace, there's a whole self-definition that you fall into, I think. You know, there's certain things, you get into certain habits, there's certain things that you do. You know, you meet people and you present yourself to them and you fall into a whole, you know, like egoic structure that works for you in that environment. And when you leave, suddenly there's this immense kind of freedom.
What will truly make me happy is if she finds a balance between constantly moving and staying still, where she can find excitement and traveling across the world and then coming home to somewhere that she's worked for and somewhere that's her own home.
It's been incredible to see her growth in the way she speaks from her heart now. To see her blossom in such a way that she never thought would happen for herself. And it's fantastic.
I think the thing about Abby that said it all to me was her willingness to go places. I think that there's a sort of courage to her in that sort of way. Not only is she going to travel, but she's going to use this as a tool to travel. I don't think Abby's the person you need to encourage to do something. It's just kind of sitting back and watching, and seeing what the next step is.
Authenticity.
Authenticity. Okay. Authenticity. Authenticity is knowing yourself and speaking from a place of truth and being very honest about who you are and what it is you're doing and being comfortable with who you are.
Do you feel that way when you're sitting in your chair?
Yes, when I'm sitting in my chair typing, I feel very authentic. Here I am. I'll write you a poem. I'm not going to tell you it's the greatest poem you've ever read, but it'll be true to now.
How much are you seeing over here?
Halfway through the card.
Okay.
You good on both?
Reading.
Mark it.
0301, take 2.
Got it.
What would being discovered look like to you? You ever imagine that?
Honestly, I have no expectations about being discovered. I don't know what it would look like. I just want to do my thing and just see what comes of it. I don't know. I mean, I've imagined, being in a band or, in a movie or something.
What does it feel like to be in this movie? Followed by us.
It's very strange being followed around, but it's encouraging. It's interesting to me that I suppose I'm interesting enough to be documented.
Why do you say that?
I say that because I'm just kind of going about doing my thing, and it's, I don't know, like people have often been interested. Okay.
Do it again.
Yeah.
Okay. If you hear something like that, you know, that'll be a cue to pause.
Okay.
Yeah. Why do you think that that's unusual then?
Just because a year ago I was doing very little with myself, and now I feel like I'm going somewhere or like on the way to something, and it's just interesting to me or unusual that like other people are noticing.
Must feel good though.
Mhm. Oh yeah, it feels great. Yeah.
Haven't tired of us yet.
No, I'm not tired of you guys yet.